What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Off the Water. I'm your host, JP, coming to you live from beautiful Dale Hollow Lake here at Eastport Marina. And I have an awesome guest today, the owner of this lovely place, Mr. Richard DeVries. Sorry.
That's all right, no problem. Lots of people have trouble with that. I want to try to say your last name.
Yeah, I know, it's ski and cows and, cows, whatever.
But both names would look good on the back of a hockey jersey.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, really good that way. But hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for taking the time to sit down here live at the marina itself and talk about esports today.
Oh, no problem. We like people coming to visit us. I know you've been here for 3 or 4 days now.
Yep.
Had a good time, so you can relate to some of the things I'm about to tell people.
Oh, yeah. I'm having a blast. I'll tell you that much. It's been, the fishing's been a little slower than what I'd like, but at the same hand, this is just beautiful. And
yeah, but not slow for everybody.
Right.
slow for you, but
right.
There's some people that actually did pretty good.
Yes.
Yeah.
And those people are going to be interviewed tonight on the Reel Down. We go over our first open we've had for Paddle and Fin Trail Series. How exciting was that this weekend?
It was crazy. I think everybody had a great time. I know we took care of them pretty good, but they were just great guests. I mean, the water was perfect on this end of the lake. The weather was iffy at times, but there was no drama. I mean, everybody just got along good, helped each other, and there were a lot of winners. I mean, there just were percentage-wise even. I mean, there was a lot of winners.
Yeah, I'd say for our first event that we've held as a unit, this was a success. And we're only looking to improve from this point on. A huge thank you again for having us host that event here and take everything that's happening afterwards, after fishing at the barn. That was probably one of the nicest venues we've ever used for a wedding. So kudos to you and thank you for everything you provided for us.
Hey, no problem. We just started getting into kayaking and just started selling them last year. And last year was just phenomenal for us. And we've hosted a few different clubs here at the marina this spring and over the winter. But this was the first attempt for Paddle and Fin to come and try to do something out of the marina. We had the meet and greet last October, which was fun, but to have all these other people here, it was exciting. From all over the country. I mean, we had people from Ohio, Indiana, Georgia, Tennessee, Illinois.
That was about it.
Yeah, that was the most part of it.
For now.
Yeah, that was a lot. Some of these guys traveled a long way.
Yeah, it was a nice 7.5 hour ride down here from Chicago.
Yeah, but that's why you're staying a few extra days. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about yourself, Richard. How did you wind up with this beautiful piece of property here on Dale Hollow, and how did it come about?
Honestly, about 14 years ago, I wanted to quit the world and buy a boat and Bahamas and beyond. And to make this story a little bit short, my wife said no. I told her we could do it, and I read about it every day on the internet, but she said no. So I said I'd buy a marina, and she was very supportive of me buying a marina until I made an offer on one, and then it was like, I asked her why she was so supportive, and now not. She said she didn't think I'd really do it, and it sure as hell didn't think somebody would give me money to do it. So long story short, 14 years later, she's helping in place, and all is still good, and as far as the marriage goes. But and it's the marina. It's been good to us. I mean, people ask what it's like to own your own business. Well, the good days are 10 times better than working for somebody else. The bad days are 10 times worse than working for somebody else. So everything good or bad is all on you. So we got this marina, and it's where all my money goes. It goes back into the marina for the most part. This is my retirement. I don't have anything else. I mean, this here, I'll pass it on to my son, and he'll hopefully send me a check every month, as long as I need it. And you know, we just keep growing. We just get opportunities, and we just keep growing a little bit. It'll never be a great big marina. It'll always be family owned. You know, we're just not that big of a place, but we do a lot of business. We have a lot of customers can see us every year.
Absolutely, and even this weekend, it was quite busy for it being, you know, we're still in the off season technically, and you know, there's a lot, aside from our group, there's a lot of people in and out. There are a lot of guys with bass boats, a lot of guys with john boats stopping in. You had a good, you know, foot and boat traffic coming through.
Well, fishing, you know, for us this time of year, we're right at the headwaters of the lake, so the fishing gets hot here first. The water warms up here first, and it clears out. If you know anything about Dale Hollow right now, it's muddy almost everywhere, but not here. Here you can go up in the river and you can see just the prettiest green water, clear water that you'll ever find. And it's mostly like that in the springtime. As the water gets hot, we're a little bit shallower, the fishing gets tough. So don't come in August and try to catch a fish, you know.
Okay.
But April's, man, it's hot in April. I mean, the fishing is really good.
Yeah. So, with that, so the marina itself, if somebody was coming down, you guys offer kayak, boat, and houseboat rentals. Want to tell us a little bit about?
Well, we have a lot of cabins. We actually have, between the farm and the other cabins, we have 13 cabins now.
Okay.
So you come down and rent a cabin, or we have 7 houseboats. We've got 2 houseboats out right now. They're mostly fishermen. Take houseboat out. I mean, you can fish off the back deck or whatever. You just get up, get on your boat. You don't even have to go down to the marina. So we have 2 houseboats that are out right now, but we have 7 total. And then we rent fishing boats, john boats, pontoon fishing boat, bigger pontoon boats, double-decker pontoon boats. So we have, I think, a total of 14 small boats that we rent as well, and kayaks. We both sell kayaks and we rent one.
Cool. And what are some of the kayaks that you have here at the shop?
Well, we have Vibe kayaks and New Canoe kayaks.
Cool.
So, and then we sell accessories like Yak Attack, Yak Gadget, paddles from Benny Branches, and we got the Tacticam cameras. So, you know, we're where we're at. I mean, we're not really in the middle of nowhere, but we can see it from here. You get a lot of stuff here at our small marina for kayaks.
Yeah, I mean, when you walk through that shop, it's like, wow. It's like being in a candy store right now, except for paddle sport. It's pretty awesome the way it's set up.
And we get people that drive 3 hours to get a kayak from us. I mean, it's not uncommon for that to happen. Yeah, and you know, if you want to come use your kayak here, I mean, between the East Fork and the West Fork of the Obi River, depending on the time of year, you can put in at the bridges and you know, do a 4 to 8 hour float. You know.
Okay.
Yeah, it depends on the time of year and how much water's flowing through it. And sometimes it's great for fishing, and sometimes it's just great for floating. But yeah, there's lots of opportunities for you to get away from the typical kayak rivers where it's just crowded.
Yeah.
You know, we're not crowded yet. Someday maybe, but we're not now. We're really the only marina on the lake that is involved with kayaking. So
Cool. Well, and thank you for bringing that to the kayaking community, because, you know, there's so many people who go on vacation who look to rent kayaks, and you know what, it's not a knock on other places either, but a lot of places turn out, you know, the boats, so they'll buy, you know, a stock of, you know, let's say 20 Pelicans or 20 Lifetime Tamaracks or whatever the case is, so they're making money on the bottom end, but you rent out quality kayaks.
well, you know, you could go someplace and pick up a kayak for a couple $100, and we went through that phase where we did that.
Yeah.
But we only had a few. I mean, we weren't really in it for the kayak, and it was just an extra thing that you had with a houseboat. And so now, when you rent a kayak from us, you know, you're getting a new canoe or a Vibe, and then what we try to do is actually at the end of the season is sell those kayaks.
Yep.
And we have new ones for next year. Our plan is to even, you can come rent a real high-end kayak with a motor on it, fish finder, and that kind of thing. It's not gonna be your typical $30 rental though.
Right.
You know, you can't take out a $3,000 kayak and expect to pay $30.
Right.
But you know, our intent down the line is to have stuff like that.
Cool. Well, the future is bright because that's the way everything's going towards. And if someone hears, oh, hey, they have motors to rent on Dale Hollow, oh my gosh, they'll have people flocking down left and right because, you know, this is a pretty big lake and there's a lot of paddling or pedaling you have to do to get from point A to point B if you really want to experience this lake itself. As I learned this afternoon coming back, I forgot to charge up the battery and I had a nice about 2.5 mile paddle downstream.
Yeah, you were about 30 minutes late for this podcast.
I sure was. I do apologize.
I didn't know if I needed to go lift where you were at. But you know, it also what it does, having that motor is it lets you include people that typically would not be able to go on a kayak trip.
Absolutely.
You know, if you're disabled or out of shape or just bad like me, you know what I mean? Maybe you can make it through the whole thing without having somebody tow you. You know, so it does just open up opportunities for more people.
That's 100% true. So my next question to you is, how did you get into kayaking?
You know, we had a guy that was working for us, Jesse, and he actually had the first kayak shop on the lake. Wasn't at a marina, it was in town, and we were just talking to him about, you know, bringing kayaks back. So we bought a bunch of kayaks and stand-up paddleboards and went to our first boat show, our only boat show year before last year, and we sold a ton of kayaks. So this year our plan was to go to 5 boat shows, but guess what? They all got canceled.
Right.
So we weren't able to do that. But for last year, I mean, we sold so many kayaks. And we were actually telling people that if you wanted to get away from the virus and still social distance, you could do it on a kayak.
Mm-hmm.
You know, being 6 feet apart is not normally a problem.
No.
So I think at one point we were selling them as isolation pods, you know. So it was just a great opportunity for people to get out and see the lake. Of course, you can do that with your family on a boat as well, or a cabin or a houseboat. There's really not a better place to get away from the virus than the lake.
Yeah.
Now you can choose to interact with people too in the restaurants or whatever, but you don't have to. So if you got somebody that's with you at risk then and you want to keep away from that, you can do that on the lake. So where a lot of businesses may have struggled last year, businesses on the lake didn't, because people came here to get away from it. And it worked. You know, I mean, we had, we were blessed. I mean, nobody last summer that I know of got the virus from the marina. None of my employees, nobody. So.
That's awesome. I mean, that's, you know, that's very something to be thankful for. Just because, you know, it, especially where I'm back, it was very prevalent. My mother wound up getting the virus. She, you know, she's fine, but you know, she's still feeling the after effects of it still. So.
Yeah, and I'm not saying. I mean, for us, I got the virus as well, but I got it in January.
Right.
And following all the rules. But everybody's closed up in their houses and stuff like that. The Tennessee Wildlife Department actually promoted people getting on the lake, where there were some states they closed down all the state parks and everything. And here in Tennessee, the TWRA, which is our wildlife officer department, I mean, they were encouraging people to go to the lake. It's one of the safest places you can go.
Yeah, and you know that I remember when everything first started, seeing that advertisement, and then we actually in Illinois we had you know, outdoorsmen, column riders, clubs, people throughout the whole state writing to our governor to follow your guys' motto of keeping the state parks and, you know, all the ramps open. it worked to some degree, but you know what? That's neither here nor there. But
Yeah, well, I mean, it wasn't perfect. I'm sure it wasn't perfect. But, you know, one of the things we did, if people canceled because they were scared of the virus, we gave them all their money back. No questions asked. We gave them their money back. And I think that went a long way when people decided to start making reservations again. You know, we're always going to do the right thing, and they weren't worried about losing money. You know what I mean? So we gave all their money back. The governor of Kentucky, you know, he closed down the other side of the lake.
Yeah.
So of course that helped us. More people came over here, and I felt sorry for those marinas in Kentucky. But by giving everybody their money back, though, I think we would tell people, look, if you're sick, don't come.
Yeah.
You know, if you're not feeling well, don't come. We'll give you your money back. So we never forced people to actually keep from losing money to come if they were at risk or thought they might have been exposed. I think that helped us a bunch.
Awesome. That's, well, and, you know, kudos to you. I mean, that's a great business model because, you know, they see, okay, hey, we were able to do this during the pandemic with the virus. There's other things that you as an operator is going to do to make sure and guarantee that not only are the customers going to have a good time, but they're going to get their money's worth, and it's honest. It's not, you're not looking to make a profit off somebody's, you know, thoughts or how they feel about a certain thing, or just, you know, in general. That goes a long way.
Well, and you know, it worked out for us. At the same time, it was pretty scary. Because when you're doing nothing but writing checks back to people for the first 3 or 4 months of the year, and you're wondering, you know, what is going to happen? I mean, I just said to my wife, I said, look, the bank can't take all our businesses back. You know, I mean, they got to give us some slack. Of course, federal government stepped in, the state stepped in, they sent money to businesses, which helped. So I think there's some risk in giving some money back, like we did, but it worked out for us. So that's all good. It worked out. I mean, if you were a business that wanted to let people use their deposit for another year, another time, I think that was fair, very fair too. But we, bookkeeping wise, I think we thought it was easier to just to zero it out instead of trying to save it. But it worked out for us. So
Good.
That's all good.
Well, congratulations on the success of last year, and you know, looking forward ahead to many, many decades after this of success.
Oh, I hope so. I hope to be retired in a few years. Nathan's still doing well.
Yep. So let's kind of transition over to fishing here. So Del Hollow. Now, the one thing that everybody knows about it is the world record smallmouth. And if you don't know, now you know.
And not just the world record, but the top 4. Number 2, number 3, and number 4 are all from Del Hollow as well.
Because if you don't know, now you know. Because I didn't know that. Now I know that.
So it's pretty cool. Now it's been a few years since that record was caught. The biggest that I've seen, it's on my website, I use it all the time, but just a mile from our marina, a few years back, there was a 9-pounder caught.
Nice.
Now, a 9-pound smallmouth is a huge fish.
Yep.
I
That
can
is-
imagine
that is-
almost 12 pounds.
That 9 pounds in the smaller world is like the equivalent to what a 20-pound largemouth would be.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It was a beautiful fish.
All right, so you know, with the marina and people are coming down, if we were to see peak season, when is peak season for the lake here? When it's the hardest to book?
Well, from Memorial Day to Labor Day we call it 100 days of hell. That means my days are going to be 7 days a week, 12, 14 hours a day. Okay, and that doesn't mean we don't enjoy it. We do, but it is pretty busy during that time frame.
Okay.
But for the most part, when the kids are out of school, that's really peak. So some of our peak, depending on if it's a boat or a cabin, might, as far as prices go, it may change a little bit from what I just said. But for the most part, peak is Memorial Day to Labor Day.
Okay. And for those who are listening, to the north, I can tell you this much: it's 7.5 hours from Chicago. From the east, what's the furthest east you've had somebody come from here?
Oh, New York City.
New York City, okay.
We've had people flying from California. You know, you think about where Tennessee's at. If you got family in California, you got family in New York, you got family in Michigan or Florida, we're right in the middle.
Yeah.
So meeting here when you have a big family and you're spread out, it's a great place.
Cool.
I will tell you this too. People in Tennessee that have to drive 2-3 hours complain more about the drive than people from Michigan that have to go 10, 11 hours. Michigan people complain the least about driving. I don't know why that is. They're trying to get away from that cold lake, I guess.
Yeah.
In some place, you know, a little bit warmer. And we see them early. We see them in April trying to water ski, and the same thing in October. So they think the water's warm at that point. So they're the first ones here, the last ones to leave from Michigan, and like I say, complain the least.
Yeah, you know, that water was only a little chilly last night.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, using the unauthorized use of our slide, I think.
Wasn't me.
Was that the alcohol that got you in there?
No, that was just that was pride. That was pride showing up, boss man. We had a bet, and
he lost. He didn't
lost.
go, did he?
He did not go.
Oh wow! I didn't know there was money involved.
Well, bragging rights.
Yeah. Brian, sissy.
The funniest part was we're on that live stream, and all of a sudden, you know, we're talking. I look over. I'm like, "Oh crap! Richard's calling."
If you're gonna get caught, I mean, live streaming and it shows me on my phone that people are in the water jumping down the slide.
It was so funny. It was like if we were a bunch of teenagers again. We just got caught.
Yeah. Well, you know, at a marina, in case you don't know it, there's stuff under the water that you don't want to hit. So I was just worried about you guys.
Absolutely. And for those who are listening right now, if you are curious to what we're talking about, go on the Paddle and Fin Facebook page and just scroll back to last night's little live stream. You'll see the unwinding after a long weekend.
What they call you, the whitest white boy that?
Yeah, whatever.
Wear some sunglasses is what they say if you watch that video. Even though it was dark.
Oh man, I am the light at the end of the tunnel.
That's funny.
Oh man, so you know, we're talking about fun and off the water. So you know, with this segment, so we're going to kind of start focusing on restaurants. So
well, let me ask you about the houseboat. You got to stay in a houseboat for what? By the time you're done, a whole week almost, huh?
yeah, they'll be close to it.
So some people get on our houseboats, and it's not just bare bones. I mean, you were in a houseboat with granite countertops and tiled floors, and it was 5-star, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
So,
And I got tonight and tomorrow to still enjoy all that. Yes, the houseboat itself, and if you go on the Paddle and Fin page too, you will see I took a bunch of pictures. You can see the interior. I did a Cribs. You know, do you remember MTV Cribs?
Yeah.
I did a Cribs walkthrough of the houseboat.
Oh, wow. That's good.
So that'll be up on the Paddle and Fin page once I'm able to upload all the videos at once. But
good deal.
yeah, it's awesome. It's well worth it.
It's on the water, yet off the water.
Yep, literally.
Yeah.
And I think the nicest part was, you know, there's kayak slips. You know, you made slips for kayaks, so you could park 6 kayaks on one slip in front of the right in front of your
Yeah, we
house.
stayed room so you guys didn't have to haul in and out every day.
Yeah, that was
out
awesome.
behind the restaurant too. When the bridges aren't like level because the water's so high, right behind the marina, you can step down actually another step and get closer to the water. For those of us with less balance.
Yeah, it's an awesome setup here, and you know that for us we had, I believe it was 6 bedrooms on that house. Yep, 6 bedrooms, and you know what? Everyone, you know, I think I had like the best room. I'm just saying. I mean, nice little tucked away corner. You get a little view of the dock. It was awesome.
Now they were all queen beds, though. I mean, so
Yeah.
you could put 2 people in there, but my understanding is that most of the paddle and fin guys won't cuddle, so we all got each got your room.
Just Jay and Brian. Those are the only cuddlers.
We don't judge. So,
Now, who's big spoon and little spoon depends on the night for them.
again, we don't judge.
Uh,
And hey, you didn't hear that from me. I don't know. I didn't see it. It's all JP that's making those accusations.
Don't worry, they heard the entire trip, so this ain't nothing new.
Okay.
Now, I know, this is pretty much lake life, but within the area, are there any breweries that are within driving distance within an hour or two for people to check out?
Oh yeah, Cookeville is the next biggest town. It's not a huge place, but Cookeville is about 40 miles south of us,
Okay.
and they have probably 4 or 5 breweries inside the city where you can eat and drink. And then we also have the Upper Cumberland Wine Trail.
Oh, but see, you went right into my next question.
The wine trail, yeah, we probably have a brochure around here somewhere. And you can collect a glass from each one.
Oh,
So you can do that. There's quite a few wineries that are really nice, and they make some great wine. Sometimes you don't know when they're making wine. You just go into a place and where that wine's really good. But all of them. I guess I haven't been to all of them, but most of them, and every single one I've been to, that's great wine.
me and my fiance, technically 2 weeks ago, we went up to Traverse City, Michigan, during her spring break. She's a school teacher, and we did a whole. It was called the Old Mission Trail Winery and Vineyard Tour, and we wound up hitting 5 vineyards within it from 10 o'clock till 4 o'clock. It was some great tasting wine, and then they also do ciders there too.
Wow.
So now that we hear that they have a vineyard trail, that's even more reason for her wanting to come down now, because she'll do the wine express.
Well, a couple times a year, they actually have a train that you can take from Nashville all the way to Delmonico Winery in Cookeville and spend the day. They have all kinds of vendors that come out, and you can tour the winery and drink wine all the way back to Nashville. Not have to worry about driving. So, and that happens a couple times a year. So if you ever get a chance to do that, that's an awesome trip.
Yeah, and we frequent Nashville quite a bit, me and her, so we'll definitely keep that in mind next time too. Thank you for that tip.
Well, yeah, and then you can take an Uber home. So yeah, you might not have any wine by the time you get home, but you'll.
Hey, you still had a good time.
Yeah, still have a good time. Yeah.
Now, do you remember any of the names of the brewery or wineries that are around?
Well, the breweries, there's Red Silo, there's Jighead, which.
Get out of here.
No, you got a beer named Jighead.
Nice.
So that's pretty cool. We've had them out here.
I was gonna say, do you have any in this shop right now?
No. I tried to get hold of Manny, and actually that's the beer we're gonna have on tap, and they were pretty busy. He didn't answer me, so he has now, and said I could go by and pick it up. Can't deliver it. But Tennessee has some weird laws when it comes to that kind of stuff. So anyway, yeah, Jighead beer. If you haven't tried it, it's pretty good stuff.
Oh man, and you know what? I'm kind of. We do the segment here. It's called One Sip. Everybody knows the rules. I wish I would have known about the Jighead beer prior to this, because I would have used that one. But we'll keep going on with that later.
Yeah, now I'm gonna probably have a mental block here. Can't remember all the other ones. There's 3 or 4 other ones that aren't too far away, and as far as
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Dale Hollow Lake podcast. We had an awesome time talking with Jason from Paddle and Fin. If you want to see more of our talk, as well as their coverage on the Paddle and Fin Trail Series Open, you can find their podcast at the link in the bio. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and join us next week for another great episode.